this video is about installing a D9 ignition relocation lie flat bracket to a 2013 Triumph Thruxton. This is my Thruxton. I've got to add what I know about motorbike maintenance. You can probably write on the back of a postage stamp. I know absolutely nothing, so this is kind of an idiot's guide. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Right, so as I said, I'm a bit clueless about how to do this. What I've done is I've got myself a little ratchet toolkit from Halfords, got my spanners and my hex keys. And what I'll do is when I finish this, I'll list what tools I've needed, so idiots like me know exactly what tools they need to get. And when you get this stuff from D9, you'll get links. There's a great Facebook page from Wee Brothers Motorcycles, and that shows you step-by-step instructions how to do it. And also there is a post on triumphwrap.net from a great guy, Ace Airspeed, again, who's gone through a step-by-step guide of installing this on his Bonneville. So using those two resources, I'm gonna have a go. Right, it has arrived absolutely blemish free, and already it's quite striking what a beautifully engineered piece of kit that is. I think the first thing I'm going to do, looking at the guides there, is I'm actually going to take the headlight off. I think it's just going to be easier to work taking the headlight off. Here's some of my mum's old tea towels to cover everything up. That's a good start. I've got a metric spanner set, and by the looks of it, this is either a very small 12mm, because I've got all that give in the spanner, or it's imperial, but enough to loosen it at least. Right, that's that. Doesn't fall away very much actually. I think the next thing I will do is take the two holders off of the instrument cups here and disconnect those. So, right, that's an 8mm spanner. That fits quite well. That's easy. Yep, so that's straightforward. Right, next step, removing the wiring, so they obviously just clip, he says. Wiggle. Oh, ow. Does not pinch. There we go. Here she goes. Super. Right, and then lifting out the clocks, remembering it's the speedo on the left. Yeah, that's pretty easy. And what it says on both of the instruction resources there is that when you take these rubber thingies out, they only go back in one way. Right, next step is to remove this nasty old instrument panel holder. Oh, sorry. This is an 8mm spanner socket. This is why I bought that set from Halfords. because it's certainly easier to use one of these than it would be to try and get a little spanner in there. Right, that's that done. Right, I want now to remove the ignition, and I think this is where we're hitting the first snag that's not foreseen. I might try and change the camera angle, but I can't get a hex key in there without taking the back of the ignition off. So what we're up against, I brought the light in, is that you can't get that Allen key in there because it's fouling against this cabling here. Right, so what I'm having to do for the bottom bolt on the ignition is come at it right from the other side using the long part of the hex key. And I actually got these ones with these sort of angled ends in Halfords, so if you can't get it square on, you can actually still turn it. And now I have to say I'm really glad I did, because you can only kind of get to it from here, but I've got to be really careful I don't scratch the headlight as I turn the key. But yeah, that's turning, and this is a 4mm hex key, as I say, with like I think it's called a ball end or something. Which is ideal for situations like this. So I'm just going to keep turning until the bolt practically comes away. The top one's going to be much easier. Here we go. Right, let's see if I can drop it. No, it's still in there. Cool. Right, so we have one liberated ignition. Right, just going through the kit where we are at the moment. This is the stuff that's arrived for D9. Obviously, if you don't want to change the cups, you don't have to. This is the main business, the lie flat panel, lovely finish. Obviously you need the ring on the top. Have 4 of these hex bolts, spacers, rubber washers, metal washers, and then 2 more bolts and spacers for the ignition, and a pair of tweezers. How I'm guessing this works is you put the bolt through, then a spacer, and then the rubber washer. If I get any of this wrong, of course I'll put a subtitle on the video, but I'm kind of guessing this is how it's done. Not sure where the metal spacers fit in, the metal washers fit in, but we'll see. Right, we will pop that on with the spacers. And I am using a 4mm hex key, the same one I used to take off the ignition. Next step is going to be putting the ignition in. This little cable clip here just gave me a little bit of grief because I didn't realise you had to sort of squeeze it to get it through a hole. That was just holding the cabling into that bracket, so get rid of that. I also didn't realise this, that you can actually swing these headlamp brackets out of the way. So there you go. Now before I offer that in, I'm going to need to put the bolts and spacers in. What strikes me as I'm doing this, how neat everything is, that it looks very much like D9 has actually put a ton more thought into this than the actual designers at Triumph. Right, so I need a spacer obviously before I offer that up. Try this again. I've actually managed to get that spacer's just held on by rubbing up against the wiring there. So hopefully that will stay. Brilliant. There's a metal clip here holding the wires in, and I realised I had to kind of push it down to get the ignition in fairly square. So once I've done that, it was sitting nice and square. Now then, to attach it, you need a hex key, and this is a 3mm hex key for the bolts on the top, the tweezers that come in the pack, and the right, now the other one. This side is a bit more difficult again, but what I found works is using your finger to hold the hold the nut until the bolt engages. And once it is, and you can feel it turning on your finger, then use the tweezers to hold it as you then tighten it. Again, the fact that D9 has put these tweezers in to make this all work, again, just shows how much thought has gone into this. Next up, putting the instruments back. Hopefully it's the right way around. So, that bit to the middle. Yep, and there's a gap. To get that in the right place. Got a bit of an issue here, it's fouling the ignition cable. Oh, not too bad. Just needed to push the ignition cable out of the way a little bit. Clickety click. Now, I'm reusing the original bolts, and as D9 has put washers in the kit, I put those washers on too. Eight-mil spanner again, so very few tools needed indeed to do all of this. Right, that's that. Just time to put the headlight back on. Right, so the moment of truth is, will the headlight still fit without having to switch the brackets over? Let's see. I think we are well in business actually. Just a bit worried about scratching it. Well, yeah. Yeah, we're going to be fine. That all looks pretty good to me.